Hello everyone and welcome to an episode of Cinnamon Stitches. I'm your very chilly yarn host, Jennifer. You know it's cold when I'm wearing a hat and a hoodie. I, however, am not ready to turn the heater on. I could absolutely turn the heater on, but it's that time of the year where if you're cold, put on extra clothes, because I'm not like making the bills go high by turning on the heater. I also hate the smell of the heater when you first turn it on. It has that like smell of like burnt hair a little bit from no doubt all of the hair in the vents. I've also got the allergy cough going on. Happy Monday morning or afternoon or whenever you're watching this. Today is Monday in your world and I'm recording this Friday, so it's Friday in my world. Woo woo, top of the weekend. I am showing you what I'm working on, what I've been making the past 7 days, give or take. A lot of it has been boob related, as you may know. I'm trying to move the yarn that I showed you guys on Friday to the back of the desk, and it keeps rolling back towards me. It's like, use me, use me. 'Cause you ain't that average groupie. I'm just trying to move stuff out of the way, guys. I never cleaned off my desk yesterday after I showed you guys that yarn when I filmed that video. Alright. So on Monday, if you're new here, welcome to the insanity that is in Cinnamon Stitches land. Let me turn my ringer off because it is guaranteed Mr. Cinnamon is going to call. I don't know. He, like, the other day he called me, right? And God love him, okay? He called, and I was in the middle of starting the process of trying to figure out the tutorial for the I want to call them an implant, the knitted knockers, the crochet knockers. I was starting the tutorial for this, so I was doing the prep work, you know? And because that's not my pattern, because I was doing a tutorial on someone else's pattern, I have to research the pattern. I have to watch the videos that Knitted Knockers have put out. I tried to learn as much information as I could. So I was in the research part before I sat down at the desk. And I told him, I was like, I'm getting ready to film a tutorial. And I kid you not, the second I started recording, get into the project, ring, ring, I'm like, I was a little bit snappy with him. I told you I'm doing a tutorial. I'm sorry, but... And he didn't want anything. It was something silly from work. Like, he's calling me from work. He's like, hey, like, do you know what color the sky is today? It was something stupid like that. I'm having my morning caffeine. I didn't sleep real well last night. And for some reason, I've been waking up really early. Even though I don't have to wake up really early. Ugh. It is what it is. But my stomach is what woke me up this morning because I'm an idiot. You guys want to hear a dumb story? That's an alarm. In case you don't know, the members, I made the members video telling them a little bit, but I didn't tell them the whole detail. So my niece turned 21 on the 14th. It's her 21st birthday. And I'm like, I'm going to have a drink with my girl because... as far as I know, she has told me she has not ever drank because she's terrified of it. Because she has a lot of, as do I, there's a lot of abuse in our pasts. And the abuse is from other people abusing alcohol and drugs. Okay, so with that, trigger warning if any of this bothers you. She has refused in the past, absolutely refused. She doesn't go to parties. She does not hang around people when they're drinking because it triggers her. Well, that's all good and well, but like, my girl, you're 21. Like, let's have a drink together, okay? Let's just have, and I don't drink. I do not drink. This is the reason I don't drink. It's not, actually, it's not. I don't drink because of, I try to set a good example for my children. I don't drink because of the history of addicts that are in my family, because of what I've seen and how I've watched it destroy people. and how sad and pathetic it is to watch somebody be such a horrific alcoholic that they're actually sick in the morning when they wake up. I don't want to witness that. I don't want my children to witness that. I don't drink. On a rare blue moon occasion, maybe once a year, I will have a drink. And it is rare. I actually went like 3 years without a drink one time because it's not something that's interesting to me. And I have never, in my 45 years, been drunk. I'll have a drink or 2 drinks, and that's the end of it. If I start to feel even slightly inebriated, I eat so that goes away because I'm not having it. I don't like that. It makes me panic. Now, we were driving out to see my niece, and we weren't planning to go out there, but we did because her other plans got canceled because my sister's a moron. And without going into too much of that detail, if you know any of the history, you will know that my sister's not a very good mom, and I'm all my niece has, me and Mr. Cinnamon, and he very much stepped up and took the dad role without question, without it being asked to. He just did. So we're driving out there. I was like, can you stop at Sheetz? Sheetz is our gas station. I was like, can you just grab an alcohol? I would like to have a shot with her for her 21st birthday. And he's, oh yeah, he comes out with this watermelon crap, right? Didn't occur to me to read the label. Didn't occur to him to read the label. Now, I'm going to tell you, I can't eat anything that has the word malt in it. Malt vinegar, malted chocolate balls, anything that has barley, it's gluten. I thought I trusted my husband to read the label, so I didn't read the label, didn't think to read the label. I took a shot and I had like a shot and a half with her. We recorded it. It's hilarious. I'm actually really proud of the way she handled it. And she's funny because she started to get hot immediately after. She's all, I'm hot. And she's taking off all her clothes. You heard me say it's malt. It was malt liquor. It was 6%. It was like the equivalent of like a wine cooler, or like it was like no alcohol at all. She's stripping. And I said to her, calm down. It's just malt liquor. It's not going to hurt you. Never registering to me what I said until I got to the truck to go home. And I looked at Mr. Sim. I said, that was malt liquor, wasn't it? He's all, shit. And I was like, I just drank straight gluten. I just drank straight gluten. I cannot ingest gluten. It makes me violently sick. So like I said, I'm recording this Friday. This happened on Monday. So, I was having all kinds of issues yesterday with my stomach, with my body, with... Oh, God. So, I woke up this morning because my stomach was like, go to the bathroom now. So, we're up bright and early and chipper and rosy. Because I'm an idiot and didn't read the bottle before I had a shot with my... I almost said my daughter. She might as well be my daughter. I told Mr. Cinnamon, and I've said this so many times over the years, I don't know why God didn't give her to me. I don't know why God didn't give her to me, because I've always wanted to be a mom. I've always craved being a mom. Being a mom was the best thing I've ever done in my life. And I feel like I'm getting emotional over that. I struggled with infertility for years. I've had 2 miscarriages. Like I've lost babies. And the first miscarriage I had was right before my sister got pregnant with my niece. And so it's like an extra hard stab. Like, you're going to lose your first baby, and then I'm going to give a baby to a very undeserving sister of yours. And when Hermione was born, pretty much for the time she was born, she was more like me than she was my sister. She's neurodivergent. she has weird quirks that only Aunt Jenny understood. I could get through to her at a very young age when no one else seemed. Well, me and my dad got through to her. She's very, very close to my dad. And my sister always hated and resented me for that because I could get through to her, and I don't know. I understood her in a way my sister did not. And I always have questioned God, like, why would you give her to a mother who does not treat her right, who lets her be abused, who ignores her and neglects her, like all these things. Like, why did you not give her to me? Because I would have took care of her properly, and I always have. I've always stepped in and took care of her and her sister without question. And I texted her on the way home. It was like it didn't occur to me that there was gluten in that alcohol. And she's all, oh no. I said, see, child, I love you so much I drink poison for you. She said, I love you too, Aunt Jenny. Hilarious. I'm laughing so hard I'm crying. I love you so much I drink poison for you. Alright, now we're just gonna laugh through this whole episode because I have had so much fun crocheting boobs this week. Okay. You guys saw the boobs from the tutorial, right? Well, let's start with the knitted knockers, okay? So this is the one I did for the tutorial. I showed you guys how to make these. This is a crocheted knocker. I keep calling it a knitted knocker because that's the name of the company that distributes these to breast cancer people. And what are these used? If you didn't watch that tutorial, I will explain. These are used for inserting in your bra. Why? Because when women have breast cancer and they have mastectomies, some women choose to just have a lumpectomy, where they just take out the cancerous tissue and the tissue around it, and there will be like dents or like missing spots sometimes in the breast. Some women either opt to or have no choice but to have full mastectomies, and that's all breast tissue removed. To me, that would be devastating because a big part of my identity is my boobs. Like, I've had giant boobs from the time I was 11. Like, I never wore an A cup. I went straight to a C cup. And it's like I woke up one day, I had boobs, you know? It was really weird. And my boobs have grown since. Like, there was one point when I finished breastfeeding with Juju, and my boobs were an I cup, and I had to special order a bra because I was like a 40 I. And so I had to special order these bras, and they were god-awful ugly. They were ridiculously expensive. And I told everybody, aren't your boobs supposed to go down and get smaller after you stop breastfeeding? And, well, yeah. It didn't happen. And, I mean, after a couple years, they went down a lot. They're not an I cup anymore, but they went down a lot, and they just have fluctuated through the years. They get big, they deflate, they get big, they deflate. After Little Man, I tell him all the time, like, he turned my cups into saucers because he sucked me dry. He did not want to stop breastfeeding. He breastfed 2.5 years. I could not break him. And then one day I just had enough. And I think it had something to do with his neurodivergency. I think he was using me as a pacifier, even though he had the option of a pacifier. And it was horrendous after a certain amount of time because teeth, and he's a big boy, and I just was done. I was done. I just cut him cold turkey one day, and it was a struggle, but like, it was the hardest, and I swear he sucked me dry because I went from full to flat. I got pancake boob now. They just flop. as predicted, I lost a few subscribers, but I gained more subscribers than I lost because I talked about boobs and people get really weird about boobs. I don't know. We're going to show boobs, so if you don't want to see that part, go ahead and fast forward or end the video. So after I made, this is an A cup, which I was not sure about, and this is something else funny. Okay. I like I said, I don't know what an A cup is supposed to look like or feel like, so I'm like, I guess that's an A cup, right? So I was talking to Juju, who is my boob expert, right? So I walk over to her, I was like, does this look like an A cup? Like, and she's all, come here. And she immediately did the same thing I did. She's all, yeah, that's about an A cup. I was like, all right, well, thank you. So I decided I was going to make one for the women who are my size, okay? We went for a triple D. I had to do the math to figure out what a triple D was because that's not listed. This is an A cup. This is a triple D. Just to give you a little perspective. Okay. So I showed this to Mr. Cinnamon and I was like, that's a D cup. And he immediately went, oh, it looks so small to me. So, I don't, my family is crazy, okay? So, this is a D cup. And it's not even full all the way. Like, I didn't stuff it all the way because I took a lot of stuffing. This thing took so long to make. And right now, Knitted Knockers has put out a call for double Ds. They want them in the nude color only. They need double D cup ones, and they need, I think, B cup swimmer ones, which I don't know what the swimmer ones are. They said something about swimming boobs, swimming knockers for, that you could use acrylic for those. Because I think cotton would absorb too much of the water. I can't imagine using one of these to have one of these with swimming. I'm going to be honest, I would just be topless at that point. I'd be like, I don't need a swimming boob. That just, oh, can you imagine something heavy and soaking wet just hanging off you like that? It doesn't sound, I don't like that. So, but some women, their identity is in their, I totally understand that. It's just, to me, like, I would rather just come to swimming. I want to be comfortable, you know? So, there's my double D, my triple D, this one's a triple D. It's a triple D boobie. It's a little misshapen. I had a hard time stuffing it because I made the hole real small before I stuffed it. And this took like 5 hours to make because it's a skinny yarn and whatever. All right, now, you guys saw the boob neck pillow that I made. I made a secondary one, but I made it bigger because bigger is better, right? This thing is ridiculous. Now, funny story again, once again. The boob pillow that I made for the tutorial, one woman commented in the Facebook group. Somebody commented, she's all, oh my god, those are huge. They were life size. I measured them off my body. They're life size. So I died laughing. And these are even bigger. So when I made the first boob, I put it on my head like it was a hat because it fit. So I'm working on the second boob with a boob on my head. And my 10-year-old son, he walks in and he's all, that could be a hat. I said, I know, you want one? He said, no. But he asked if he could have the pillow. I was like, you can have the neck pillow. So this one's Juju's. He took off with the other one. But my son is a comedian, much like his mom. So the first thing he did is he stretched his shirt out. And he put the pillow in there. Nipples and all. And he waiting for his sister to come home from her boyfriend's house and he met her at the door. Furthermore, when I finished the first pillow, it was like almost midnight. And I took a picture holding them, you know, nipple face of the camera, and I took a picture. When I sent it to Juju on her phone, she didn't get it till 7 o'clock in the morning. She said she woke up and looked at her phone and had to hurry back close it because she didn't have her glasses on. And she didn't know why her mom was sending her a picture of her boobs. So, when I say I've had fun this week, I have had a good time. Completely sober. So like I said, this one's bigger. And a little man has the smaller one. Because I found the smaller boobs to be more appropriate. But this one's for my daughter. She loves it. And doesn't it look like a butt? Hang on. There we go. There's a little butt crack. Alright. This one I made a little different because I ran out of yarn. So instead of the back being flat, I had to sew it closed. And I sewed it closed with cotton that was almost this exact color. And it was the cotton from Michael's, the fat, like, 5-weight cotton. And you can't even tell. And honestly, this one looks way better than the first one. So, you guys ready? Because the nipples are still there. We went gigantor. Okay. The nipples point much further to the side because just this, I had to pull it to seam it up. So it actually pulled the nipples outward further, but it still acts as a neck pillow. And I mean, you can still tell what it is, and it's hilarious, and it makes me laugh so much, and it was fun to make. So I'm going to order some more, I'm going to go buy some more of that colored yarn because I really had fun making these. And I know that they're funny. You know, I've had so many people comment, and they're really comfortable. As you can tell, I keep leaning on them. I see a lot of purposes for these. I've had so many people comment good things about these boobs. They want to make them for their husband, for their sons. They want to make them for their doctor's office. Oh, excuse me. They want to make them for their sister who's had her breast removed. They want to make, like... one lady said she's going to make it for the breast cancer office where they do the mammograms at so that they can put them on the couches because it's just funny. It's just funny. Okay. It's hilarious. They're amusing. They're a little bit dirty, but it makes a really good neck pillow. It really does. And it's a funny joke to get a laugh out of. And I just really enjoyed making those a whole lot. And, you know, if you just cover that part, it doesn't look so bad. You know, these are enormous, though. These are huge, and had a lot of fun making that. Now, that's all I have finished this week. I am working on a blanket that I'm going to show you. The reason I started this blanket is because I had finished... What did I finish? I finished the stuff from Premier Yarns. So I worked on last week. I don't even remember what I made last week. I made some stuff last week. And I finished it. And I immediately picked up the new yarn from Premier Yarns. And I made the cowl and this, all that. Okay. Well, when I got done with it, I was like, I want to start something else because my anxiety was a little bit high. And I was like, I just need to have something in my hands. And I was procrastinating doing the boob tutorial because I was a little bit frustrated. This is just real talk. I was frustrated with the many, many rules of knitted knockers. I understand why they have the rules, but I didn't have the yarn, and I didn't have the money to buy the yarn, and I didn't have a way to get the you know, and I wanted to make them natural colored because they prefer the natural colored ones, and I was just frustrated with the whole thing. I was going to actually design my own boob pattern for the knitted knockers. And then after reading the website, I was like, I can't even do that because they're so strict on what they need and what they want and how and what kind of yarn. And I was frustrated. I'm gonna be honest, I was frustrated. And I was gonna work with knitted knockers years and years ago because I wanted to do this. And the same thing happened. It's like I was so frustrated that it had to be neutral skin tone, and they accept these, but they don't want these. They want skin tone because that's what most people are asking for. And I understand that. I'm not dogging on knitted knockers at all. But me personally, I was frustrated because I don't have those on hand and I have a lot of yarns. And there were yarns where I thought, oh, that would be a fantastic yarn. And then, no, it's not on the list. And there's reasons it's not on the list. And that hadn't even occurred to me. Like, okay, a 4-weight is going to be too heavy when you crochet it up like this. And like, I didn't want to work with a thin yarn. And so I've been putting this off actually for a couple years. And even the past 2 weeks, I mentioned doing it. And then I was like, I don't really want to make those. I don't really want to make those. I was putting it off. And they weren't that bad. I mean, the bigger sizes take forever to make because it's all single crochets. But it wasn't that bad. And I'm glad I made it. I had fun. I had fun with the tutorial. I had fun making them, which is why I made a second one. Oh, excuse me. That soda is making me burp. So because I was putting that off, I was like, I need to start something because I think it was Monday. We're driving out to go see my niece for her birthday, and I was like, I just need something to do in the car because I was very upset with my sister. I was at the point where I was ranting and raving at Mr. Cinema about how much I hate her and how worthless she is. And I was ranting because she hurt my baby girl again. And I'd had enough. I was ready to go up to her work and scream at her. I was not happy with my sister. And I was like, I need crochet to calm my mind before I see my niece because it's her birthday. She doesn't need to see me like that. So I need yarn. So I had a nice breakfast. And walking around looking for what can I start. I didn't want to make any more hats. I didn't want to knit in the car. And I'm like, what can I at least start on so that I can clear my head on the way to go see her, because it's an 1.5-hour drive, right? So I grabbed some Halloween yarn. I grabbed this one. And I grabbed Hunter Orange. This is Hobby Lobby. This is Hirschner's. This one is my favorite one from Hirschner's, and I'm sad that I'm using it up because I was saving it because I think it's so pretty. But it's going to be a nice blanket. So I'm like, I'm just going to do something real simple because I learned from the Big Ball project we don't need to do something complicated all the time. And my balls are still rolling at me. I put that behind the camera. Boop. All right. So I'm like, we're just going to do a granny square. And if it turns into something else other than a granny square, it'll turn into something else. I'm just going to work on a granny square. So, this is what our granny square looks like. It's going to be a blanket. It's going to be like probably a lapgan. So I did... Alright. That looks like there's a hard color break right there, and it's not... It's just where the color shifted in the yarn. Alright, it's not the prettiest blanket, but it's fun. It's Halloween, right? So I alternated between these two, and then I ran out of the first ball of this because it was a partial ball because I used this for something else and I have no idea what I use this for. So I only had like a partial ball and it didn't go very far, as you can tell, because I've already connected this one. And this was a partial skein. So I knew it wasn't going to make a full blanket. It wasn't going to go very far. And then I was like, I need to go find something else that I can work in with this. So I grabbed some Big Twist Rave in the color... Where's the color at? Electric Citrus. And I started working that one in, which is not going to go very far because I've already gotten almost through the first series of, because it's not showing up on camera, but it's different shades of oranges and yellow. And there's 2 full pattern repeats of the color. And I've already gotten through almost the entire first color repeat. So I'm going to say, because this is getting larger, I'm only going to get maybe 8 rows out of this entire ball. So that's where we're at. I'm trying to finish it by Halloween because it's always chilly in the evening. I not only take little man trick-or-treating while somebody stays home and passes out candy. Usually it's me and little man trick-or-treating, and Mr. Cinnamon stays home and passes out candy. We make it a big deal. We have lasers and smoke machines and all kinds of stuff in the front yard. And when I'm done trick-or-treating with him, because he doesn't like going very far, he will go up and down the block maybe once. He might go to a second street, and then he wants to come home and eat his candy. That's fine by me. Whereas the girls, because I raised my 2 nieces and my daughter together, the 3 of them wanted to do every street in the neighborhood. And if we were in Michigan, because back when we lived in Michigan, they just wanted to keep going until there was no houses left. Whereas here, we actually live in a community that is kind of, we're not gated, but we're not, we're kind of secluded. And they could have trick-or-treated for hours. It would not have been a problem. But little man's like, nope. He just wants to get his candy and come home and eat it. And that's fine, because he doesn't do well with sugar. He gets crazy on sugar. So if he has less candy to eat, we don't have to deal with as many weeks of him being hopped up on sugar. But my problem is, I like to sit out with Mr. Cinnamon and help pass out candy when he's done trick-or-treating. And it gets cold out there, and I always need a blanket, and I always need a hoodie and a blanket and my slippers, and I get cold, especially after walking, because the weather here in October is like, you're chilly but sweating during the day. So if you have a hoodie on, you're going to sweat underneath that. So then your t-shirt and stuff underneath gets a little bit damp from the sweat. And then when that cold breeze hits at night, now you're freezing because you're a little bit damp from sweating. And like, unless I went and changed my entire body, undergarments and everything, I'm going to have a little bit of sweat dampness, you know, and then I'm freezing. So with that, I mean, I could change, but like, I like to just come home and just sit with him. Okay. So this is my Halloween blanket that we're working on this year. I make a Halloween blanket every year. Last year, I think it was last year, I made a Lilo N Stitches Halloween blanket. I purchased a bunch of her patterns for, she has granny squares for a pumpkin, for Frankenstein, for, I don't remember what else, because I don't even know where I put that blanket. So I made that one, I think it was last year. I also made one that's on my couch currently that is very similar to this, except it's yarn from the Dollar Tree. So it's the Just Premier Active yarn, and it makes a beautiful blanket. And it's purple, orange, and white, I think. There might be, I think there's green in it too. Purple, green, orange, and I just had it on my body, and I have no idea what color it is. It's very similar to this, except it's just a granny square blanket. And then a couple years ago, I made one that is like a scene blanket, which I don't use. And I'm not even sure where I put it. It's in one of my closets. It's a big blank canvas that is a scenery. I made a pumpkin, it's a pumpkin patch scenery. I put pumpkins on it and leaves and vines and a moon and clouds. It's beautiful. I don't use it, it's heavy. So I make one every year. This is my Halloween blanket. Just funny because I don't make Christmas blankets, which is really weird. I have yarn over there to make a Christmas sweater. I bought more yarn here to make another Christmas sweater. Maybe Halloween's is blankets. Halloween is blankets and Christmas is sweaters. Because I've always wanted a Christmas blanket. I just have never made one. And I have plenty of Christmas colored yarn to make a Christmas blanket. But this year I have 2 sweaters planned. So, I mean, what are you going to do? So that's what I'm working on right now. This will probably be done Honestly, I don't know if it's going to be done by Halloween. I haven't had a lot of time to crochet like I want. There's a lot going on, and I'm not complaining. It's not a complaint. I am enjoying all of the other things that life has put on me, or that I've put on my life. And I'm enjoying the process of everything, and I'm enjoying spending time with my child. First and foremost, I really like him as a person, and I couldn't say that before. He was difficult, and the whole stress with the school calling all the time and him getting beat up and the whole situation just made us both angry and frustrated, and we couldn't enjoy each other because we were angry and frustrated and hurt, and we're tired of dealing with this crap, and it was just constantly, we were in a state of fight or flight, and we were both fighting, not towards each other, but because we're the closest people to each other. Like, we were ricocheting off each other a little bit, and it's just so different now. It's so different and so enjoyable. So I'm not at all complaining about that, but my time is very spread thin, and I am prioritizing different things than I ever have had to prioritize before. Number one, I am a homeschool teacher. That is number one priority no matter what. And so I'm rearranging my schedule every single day to fit other things in. And I am also prioritizing myself. And I've been doing this a little bit at a time over the past couple of years because it's a necessity. But I more than ever now know what kind of pain I can actually feel in my body if I don't take care of myself. So I'm trying to stop putting myself last and trying to prioritize walking, getting up and moving, going to the chiropractor, just taking care of myself. My mental health is a really big deal. We've been trying to deal with fixing mental health issues this year. These are all things I'm prioritizing with the homeschool first, prioritizing my mom up there, because if mom's not here, there is no homeschool. So these are both up at the top of the things, and everything else has fallen to the wayside. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just, I have even less time to comment and respond to people on here or in the Facebook group. Like, I just don't have, there's not enough hours in the day. And I don't split my time. Like, I see a lot of people, my husband is one of them. He will sit at the dinner table while we're eating and stare at his phone, okay? Or he will have the TV on, staring at his phone, and his family is next to him trying to talk to him. He just is constantly plugged into other things. We've been fighting this for years. It's just who he is, okay? Me, I'm not going to stare at this all day. I'm not gonna. It irritates me when I stare at it too long. So a lot of things like commenting and responding to things I'm struggling with, because I'm not going to sit and homeschool him while staring at my phone. I check in when he's doing something I know he doesn't need my help. I will check in, and then I will go right back to him. I don't even crochet when I'm teaching him, because I want him to have my full attention. Now, yesterday and the day before, I was trying to get everything situated for all the boob videos, right? So while he was doing a test, I opened my laptop and I made sure the videos were getting uploaded, because you notice they got uploaded late because I was working late into the night recording the tutorials, which I also do not ever do, because if I don't get enough sleep, I am not a happy camper the next day. I am hard to live with if I don't have enough sleep. I've gone way too many years of my life where I didn't sleep, and I need sleep so desperately. Like, if mommy does not sleep enough, we're gonna have a problem. And so I have to prioritize that. So I don't work, and I try to keep banker's hours with my work. I can't do that anymore either. I have to try to just squeeze things in where and when I can, and just do it. I have to do it to where it's not a stressful thing, you know? And so far I don't feel stressed. I'm just kind of winging it day by day. Just let's see what we can get done. And I was doing pretty good. I had a couple weeks stretch where I was getting everything done, you know. I was doing the homeschooling, the videos were on time. I was cooking dinner every day, which that is an accomplishment for me because for a while there I was really struggling with being able to cook dinner, but then I got the Instant Pot and I am a happy camper because I can have dinner in a half an hour. And I can just wait till the last second and throw something frozen in there. It's done in 45 minutes, okay? I just can. That has changed my life, the Instant Pot. Okay? It really, really has. Now, where was I going with that? My brain just skipped ahead. So I was doing really good. I was prioritized. I was, you know, I felt like I was accomplishing things, and then I was like, I have no clean clothes. I have 0 clean clothes. So underneath this, I'm wearing a t-shirt that is not mine. I'm wearing one of Mr. Cinnamon's raggedy undershirts that he wears under his dress shirts. It's just a raggedy white t-shirt. It's so comfortable though. And I have on some leggings that make me look so fat. They are not, they're sky blue. They're almost this color. And they have like the Up from Disney's Up, the Up house going up the leg. But it makes me look, make me look so fat. So I'm not looking my best today because, and also I can't carry laundry up and down the stairs because with my restrictions in my back, I can't carry over 10 pounds. My laundry is more than 10 pounds. So I'm going to need help. Once I gather my clothes, I'm going to need help. But little man is very strong and very willing to help me to carry them downstairs so that I can actually do my laundry today. But it's like, it's just that kind of thing, you know. I get so busy trying to get everything done, and I thought I was accomplishing everything. I'm like, wait a minute, I don't have any clean. And thankfully for me, I ordered 2 weeks ago, I ordered undergarments. So I had clean drawers. At least I got clean underwears on, okay? My underwears are clean. That part is the most important part. I told you he was gonna call me. I told you. I probably should have showed that. We'll have to blur his number. So that's what's going on in Cinnamon Stitches land. We're in almost 45 minutes. I'm just gonna let him go to voicemail because he knows that I record. And I always tell him, like, I stop everything when he calls and I answer the phone. But lately he's just been calling extra, and I'm like, you gotta stop calling me. So you know I'm working. You cannot call while I'm working all the time. And it's every time I hit record, he picks up the phone. I won't hear from him all day. The second I turn on the camera, he calls. Guaranteed. I'm like, do you have spy cameras up? Like, or did you bug my phone? Oh, which is all possible. It's all possible. He says I'm paranoid. I'm like, dude, you work for the government. We know. You're spying on me. I used to mess with him all the time because when we first moved here and he first started working where he works, I would talk on the phone with my dad and he would call me later and he'd be like, he would say something random that I just told my dad on the phone. I'm like, were you listening to my phone call? He's like, what are you talking about? I was like, I literally was just talking to my dad about that. And he'd be like, I cannot confirm nor deny. Oh, shut up. Shut up. So, yeah. There's that. What are you guys working on this week? I'm really going to just try to focus on finishing that blanket. I'm not feeling as much joy in it as I thought I would, though. And now I just want to be done with it. And I want to move on. I want to make some other stuff. But time is limited, you know? Time is limited. I'm not complaining about that, though. I'm just glad I'm able to do all that I'm able to do. And I'm really, really grateful that the pain in my back has subsided a lot. Thanks to my chiropractor. I want to kiss that man on the mouth. I'm telling you. I know several people have asked how the visits with the chiropractor have gone. I feel well enough this week that I don't feel like I need to go see him this week. He said 5 or 6 visits and I should be good. 2 visits had me feeling right as rain. And I can tell when things start to get off a little bit, because last week after my first, where he set my pelvis in the proper place, I felt good, and he's all, it's probably going to start to slide back after a couple days. He said, come and see me first at the beginning of the week. And so I did. And then when I saw him last, he's all, it barely shifted. It shifted enough that I was experiencing pain, but it barely shifted to where it took him like 3 minutes to set me. And he didn't say when I needed to come back. And so I'm like, all right, well, we're going to wait until probably the end of the week, or like maybe give it another week. I'm trying to get Juju to like finally bend and go see him, because she's having a lot of problem in her lower back, and I know where that's going to lead because I've been down that road and I've been in pain since I was 11 with my back. I've had so many problems, and I just want her to not, she's scared. She's terrified to go to the chiropractor. I'm like, it's not a big deal. She's like, but I don't like people touching me. I understand that, but there's going to be a point where the pain is bad enough. You will have anybody touch you to get it to go away, because it's gonna get worse. I know her body is like God replicated all of my crap and put it into her poor little body. Like, all of the bad stuff is in her. The gluten allergies, all the stomach issues. Every time I feel sick, she feels sick. And it's not she's not, what is the word? It's not, my brain is saying hypoglycemic. That is not it. She's not one of those mental people where she's like, oh, I gotta be sick because someone else is sick. It's just her body reacts to environments the same way mine does. It reacts to chemicals the same way mine does. Like, the only thing she has differed with me is she doesn't have allergies as severe as I do, which I'm grateful for, but I think my allergies are as bad because I grew up in a smoke-filled household. I also, who knows what kind of chemicals were in the house that I grew up in. I grew up in a 2-bedroom house it was a tiny 2-bedroom house. There was 5 people living there, but most of the time there was a 6th person, because my mom had siblings very much like mine that always needed her, and so she would take them in. And so my aunt lived with us for a long time. My godfather lived with us for a while. And everybody smoked. My Uncle Peaches from down the street would come down every single day. My grandpa would come down every single day. And most of these people smoked cigarettes. So there was always a lot of smoke in a poorly ventilated, tiny house. And I have health problems because of it. Like, I have really jacked up ears. My ears, I've had chronic ear infections since I was a baby. My eyes have issues because my tear ducts used to not act right because I was my mom would like hold us and smoke, you know? Yeah. I remember lots of times kissing my mom goodnight, and she had just puffed the cigarette, and like smoke would get in my mouth when she would kiss me goodnight. And I could tell you, like, I knew what menthol tasted like from the time I was born. Like, my mom always tasted like menthol. So if you have mentholated vanilla chapstick, I equate that to my mom, because she always smelled like vanilla. And so I can't stand that smell anymore. You'd think it would be comforting, but to me it's like, ugh, I don't like that smell. The smell of tobacco, like menthol is always, mentholated things remind me of tobacco. And I did smoke for a short time when I was a teenager. I did. I know exactly what that first drag of a menthol cigarette tastes like. Yeah. I'm glad I quit that young. I have not had a cigarette in my mouth since I met Mr. Cinnamon, because he did not like it at all. And so I was like, I'm cool. I never got addicted to it. You know, it was a thing I did because I was a teenager and I grew up in smoke. I even worked at a cigarette shop for a little while. It was a cigarette shop / video store. Insane. I was all 17 years old, illegally selling cigarettes. My arm is itchy. So, I think that's it for today. I think I'm gonna let you guys go. I know I had a point that I was going to. Oh, the small house we lived in. What was I gonna say about? Oh, some of my ailments and things and my allergies and stuff I think are environmental from growing up in the house. Like I said, it was a smoke-filled house, but also the house had previously caught fire before we moved in. Actually, my uncles caught it on fire before we moved in. So there was, I have no doubt, carcinogens in the walls because it got cleaned out some. But also, I mean, I don't know if there was asbestos in that house. I'm positive there was lead paint because the house was born in, or it was born, yeah, the house was born. The house was built in the early 50s, I think 52. So who knows what kind of chemicals I had in my lungs and my body growing up, which I know is part of some of my health issues are caused from that. But everything else, like Juju, has inherited. And all the stuff I have, I inherited from my mother, which is fantastic. And I just look at little man and I'm like, okay, he has ADHD, which is clearly from my mom's side of the family. Looking, I can see there's a lot of my uncles are undiagnosed with something. So I know that, but for the most part, he doesn't show. He had a little bit of skin issues when he was little. Every child, my niece, Juju, and little man, all have showed symptoms and signs of eczema when they were growing up. I had to use special soaps and special lotions, and I had to be really careful because they would get really bad breakouts and blisters. And when Juju was a baby, she would get blisters all around her mouth, and they did allergy testing and they could not figure out why she was getting blisters on the outside of her mouth when she ate. And it was specific foods like ketchup, chip dip, I can't even remember what, like there was a handful of foods. Every single one of those foods that she would get like just a little bit of a strawberry rash around her mouth now causes blisters inside her mouth and a stomach reaction. So I didn't realize, and I'm glad I figured it out while she was young, that I couldn't eat gluten, and that's why I've been sick my whole life with stomach problems. And then I looked at Juju and I started to realize, like, hang on, she's getting blisters. Just like that was my first sign, is I was getting blisters. I've had issues my whole life. I didn't know that's why I was sick all the time. I kept getting the, oh, if you lose weight, you won't be sick all the time. Yeah, that's not true. I was sick even when I lost weight. The only time I wasn't sick is when I did Atkins hardcore. And so I told the doctor that, and he's all, I don't know what you lost weight. That's probably why you weren't sick anymore. No, because it wasn't eating gluten. And then when I saw the doctor that I actually really liked, and I told him, I was like, I think I can't eat gluten. And he's all, why? And I told him all the symptoms. I said, but also, like, I'm having a reaction with soy sauce. And he's all, well, maybe we'll test you for soy and we'll test you for wheat and all this stuff. I'm not allergic to soy. There's wheat, there's gluten in soy sauce. So I didn't know that. So I switched over to tamari instead of soy sauce because it's gluten-free, and no more reactions. And then I started to notice, wait a minute, this might be what's going on with Juju too, because she's getting blisters in her mouth. She's having all the same stomach problems I've been having. And it took her a year to get on board. Like, she watched me the first year. I struggled real hard to just be gluten-free. It is a very hard transition to cut out a huge portion of your meals. It is a huge transition to just go and take one food group that is, I mean, gluten is in everything. It's in and there's people who have soy allergies. Like, anybody that has a food allergy understands, like, there is stuff in there's dairy in everything, there's soy in everything, there's gluten in everything. So you gotta read your labels, and you gotta not drink malt liquor. Read your labels. Don't put nothing in your mouth unless you know what's in it. And it took her a year of me showing her this is how we have to do it, and her watching me struggle. And it was a full year, and I was like, maybe you need to try going gluten-free to see if it helps you. You just need to try for a couple weeks. If it doesn't help, we'll figure something else out. And I've been gluten-free for 4 years. I think it's 4 years now. I think it's been 4 years now. She's been gluten-free for 3 years now, and it has made a big difference in our life. We still get the occasional where we accidentally ingest gluten, or we get gluten at a restaurant because they weren't careful, and you don't always know right away. Because it's not like we don't get like the throat closing and stuff. Sometimes we'll get a blister and we'll know, okay, that has gluten in it. Because when you get a blister on the roof of your mouth or in the back of your throat, you could feel the blister pop up. And sometimes the blisters are just big pillows of fluid. And sometimes they're little and hard, and those ones hurt. And the big pillowy ones, if you push on it with your finger, it just pops, it's done. There's no more blister. But that's the first symptom that you've eaten something that your body's reacting to. And then within the hour, your stomach is like, you just ate glass. Because that's what it feels like to me. It feels like I ingested glass and I'm trying to digest it. And then it gets worse from there. And it's not easy to deal with. It's very painful. But lesson learned, read your labels and don't drink alcohol. Anyway, I'm going to let you go. I'm going to go wake up little man for homeschool. I'm going to call Mr. Cinnamon back on the phone and see what he wanted. And I will see you guys hopefully tomorrow. Because I can't promise anything anymore. I can't promise anything. I'm going to say I'm going to try. I do have some videos planned for this week that I'm really excited about, but it's a matter of whether I'm going to have time to actually make the videos. But yeah. I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.